Have you ever wondered what makes a song stick in your mind forever, even if the artist never hits the charts again? In the 1960s, 15 one-hit wonders left a lasting mark on music history with tracks that captured a generation. From Steam's Chant that knocked the Beatles off number 1 in 1969, to others with surprising tales, these songs carry unique stories. Watch and learn to see if you can name these 1960s one-hit wonders. Ready to hear about a song that started as an afterthought but became a cultural giant? Nah Nah Hey Hey Kiss Him Goodbye by Steam was just a B-side in 1969, barely noticed during recording. Yet its simple, repetitive chant caught fire in a way no one expected. This track climbed to the top of the Billboard Hot 100, holding number 1 for 2 weeks in December 1969, even pushing the Beatles' Come Together out of the spot. Mercury Records A&R executive Bob Ringo saw its potential and insisted on flipping it to the A-side, a decision that changed everything. Its easy, adaptable hook made it a staple at sports events and beyond. The irony, a discarded B-side written as filler became Billboard's final multi-week number 1 of the decade. From this playful chant, we turn to a song captured the decade's anger in one take. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
Tell me over and over and over.
Let's shift to a track that boiled over with frustrations of its time. Eve of Destruction by Barry McGuire hit hard in 1965, soaring to number 1 on both Billboard and Cashbox charts in September. It became a raw outcry for a generation fed up with war and injustice. This song's power came from its unpolished edge. McGuire cut the track in a single rough take from a crumpled lyric sheet, and that gritty vocal matched the anger in lyrics about Vietnam and civil rights. Listeners felt the urgency, like he was speaking right to them. Radio stations banned the track, yet that only amplified its reach. Despite bans in the US, UK, and Scotland, the controversy fueled its climb, cementing its status as the era's definitive protest anthem. Its rough honesty struck deep. Now let's turn to a band that created magic with some unusual studio tricks. Let's dive into a group that turned quirky creativity into a chart-topping hit. Have I the Right by the Honeycombs brought something fresh to 1964 with wild studio tricks. It shot to number 1 on the UK singles chart, and its sound was unlike anything else. Producer Joe Meek taped the band stomping on wooden stairs to craft a unique rhythm, recording it with microphones clipped to the banisters. He even sped up the tape for a lively, peculiar energy, while a tambourine struck directly on a mic added raw punch. But could they play it live? Lead singer Dennis Dell struggled to match that sped-up sound on stage. In the 1960s, bold studio ideas often shaped hits. Yet this one's success tied the band to a single moment. Great production made it a smash, but also limited their run. This one-hit triumph highlights how studio wizardry could outshine live chops and trap a band in its own breakthrough. Now, let's shift to a track that took a completely different approach with its playful charm.
Who put the bump in the bump, bomb? Who put the rhyme in?
Let's talk about a song that brought humor to the airwaves with a wink at its own genre. Who Put the Bomp in the Bomp 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 by Barry Mann hit the charts in 1961, peaking at number 3 for 2 weeks in late 1961 on the Billboard Hot 100. By cheekily naming every bomp and rama, Mann gave listeners an inside joke to sing along to. What made it stand out was its self-aware lyrics. Unlike the serious pop tunes of the time, Mann sang about the silly sounds of doo-wop like Bump Ba Bump and Rama Lama Ding Dong. He turned his insider knowledge into a top 3 hit by lampooning and celebrating those doo-wop syllables. Mann, mostly known as a songwriter, made fans smile with this fresh take. It showed how the 1960s could mix humor with nostalgia for a memorable hit. Now, let's move to a sound that blended styles in a way you wouldn't expect. Let's turn to a track that fused unexpected elements in a standout hit. Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum broke boundaries in 1970, reaching number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and staying in the top 100 for 15 weeks. Its sound was a true original. Greenbaum wrote it in 15 minutes after seeing Porter Wagner on TV, then laid an integrated fuzz guitar riff over gospel-inspired lyrics using a Fender Telecaster with a built-in fuzz tone circuit. That bold fusion, hard rock fuzz and gospel themes, grabbed listeners and ensured placements in over 30 films like Apollo 13 and ads for Nike. For a Jewish songwriter, singing of a friend in Jesus was a bold twist that captured universal longing and left an enduring mark on pop culture. The 1960s often rewarded such daring experiments. This track became a timeless hit by breaking every rule. Now, let's shift to a story where real pain shaped a song's impact. Let's look at a song where personal loss blurred into haunting lyrics. Last Kiss by J. Frank Wilson and the Cavaliers, released in 1964, hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 on November 7th, held off by the Supremes' Baby Love, and stayed in the top 10 for 8 weeks. In real life, their manager, Sonley Roush, died in a head-on crash, an eerie mirror to the lyrics, which drove record sales. The song tells of a young couple in a fatal car accident, with the singer losing his girlfriend. As one of the last major teen tragedy hits before the British invasion, its storyline resonated deeply. Wilson, injured in the same crash as Roush, kept touring on crutches, adding to the song's emotional weight. In the early 1960s, tragic ballads had their moment, but change was coming. That haunting crossover between life and art set the stage for the decade's next revolution: bite-sized chart toppers. Let's move to a track that proved you don't need much time to make a lasting impact. Stay by Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs claimed the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1960 at just 1 minute and 36 seconds. It held number 1 for 1 week in November 1960, becoming the shortest song to reach number 1 at that time. Why so brief? Radio had tight rules back then. They cut the smoke line to comply with radio guidelines, shaving the track down to a radio-perfect 96 seconds. That brevity turned into part of its legend, showing a quick emotional plea could hit hard. Its revival in Dirty Dancing in 1987 boosted sales even more than its original run. The 1960s often saw radio shaping how songs were made. Stay proved even the shortest tracks could leave a mark. Next up, we'll see how a unique presentation turned a melody into something unforgettable. Now, let's shift to a track where the way it was shown to the world made all the difference. Classical Gas by Mason Williams in 1968 amazed listeners with its intricate melody and a clever visual pairing. It peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 2 weeks in August, blocked only by The Doors' Hello, I Love You, and hit number 1 on the Easy Listening chart for 3 weeks. As head writer for the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, Williams debuted it on national TV, turning an instrumental into a talking point. He commissioned a kinesthesis film by Dan McLaughlin to pair still images with the guitar piece on the show, boosting its reach. That technical guitar work, mixed with accessible tunes, pulled fans in fast. The 1960s saw music and media start to blend in new ways. This launch into visual territory showed how cross-media could vault a wordless track into the top 10. Now let's explore another sound that crossed borders with its appeal. Let's turn to a melody that broke through from across the Atlantic with stunning success. Love is Blue by Paul Marriott made history in 1968 as the first recording by a French artist to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, holding that spot for 5 weeks and selling 2 million singles in the US alone. This instrumental carried a soft, dreamy tone that captured listeners everywhere. A Minneapolis DJ spun it in January 1968 and kept taking calls. Listeners flooded the station, sparking a nationwide demand. That grassroots push helped it spread quickly, showing how radio could turn an unknown track into a sensation. The 1960s music scene was ready for diverse sounds, and this hit proved it. Its success underscored how an instrumental could transcend language and geography. Ready now for a tune that captured a whole way of life? Let's head into our next unforgettable sound. Let's talk about a track that became the heartbeat of a coastal craze. Wipeout by the Safaris in 1963 turned into the ultimate sound of the surfing wave. It reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and with its famous drum solo and opening laugh, became a surf rock milestone. Its manic drum beat and gritty guitar riffs captured the thrill and danger of surf culture. The sound mirrored the rush of riding a huge wave, with the title itself referring to a wipeout off a surfboard. That raw energy grabbed listeners from the start. In the early 1960s, music often connected to youth trends. This track showed how a sound could embody a whole way of life. It remains one of the most covered surf instrumentals, a lasting symbol of that beachside spirit. Now, let's shift gears to a melody that took listeners somewhere far beyond the shore. Let's discover a sound that seemed to come straight from the stars. Telstar by the Tornadoes rocketed to #1 on both the UK singles chart and the US Billboard Hot 100 in December 1962, selling about 5 million copies worldwide. It was a groundbreaking moment for a British group. This instrumental carried an eerie, futuristic vibe that stood out. Meek's overdubbed clavioline and a backward toilet flush gave Telstar its otherworldly textures. Those clever studio tricks mirrored the excitement of the space race, pulling listeners into a cosmic soundscape. Producer Joe Meek's experimental ideas shaped a track that made history. Despite disliking the track and seeing few royalties, the Tornadoes fueled Meek's vision into a transatlantic #1. The 1960s welcomed such bold sounds, and this hit opened doors for British acts before the invasion. From cosmic sounds to a cross-cultural ballad, our next tune proves melody can reach across any divide. Let's look at a song that carried raw emotion straight to the top, no matter the language. Sukiyaki by Q Sakamoto made waves in 1963, hitting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks in June. It became the first Asian artist to claim that spot and sold over 13 million copies worldwide. These lyrics about holding back tears after lost love connected globally without translation. That sad, sweet melody touched listeners who didn't know a word of Japanese. The song's universal theme of heartache made it personal to so many, proving music speaks beyond borders. It also charted at #1 in Australia, New Zealand, and Norway, showing its wide reach. The 1960s were a time when music started crossing all kinds of lines. This track became a quiet symbol of shared feeling in a world full of differences. Now, let's turn to a band that hit the top spot even as they scoffed at their own bubblegum pop gem.
Green tambourine.
Let's talk about a group that soared to the top with a song they didn't even want to claim. Green Tambourine by the Lemon Pipers hit #1 on both Billboard and Cashbox in February 1968, sold over 2 million copies, and became the first bubblegum pop chart topper. It defined a catchy, lighthearted sound for the era. The Lemon Pipers dubbed it funny money music, recorded only after Buddha Records threatened to drop them. They felt it strayed from their rock roots, yet its success was undeniable. Its electric sitar and taped echo play defined a new subgenre, even if the band felt artistically compromised. A string section added a surprising layer to the quirky tune. The 1960s often saw labels steering bands toward commercial hits. That pressure turned a reluctant recording into a milestone. Now let's shift to a story where a familiar face used screen popularity to strike chart gold.
Missed him till the danger passed. The days went by, he mended fast.
Let's explore a television icon who rode his on-screen charm right to the top of the music charts. Ringo by Lauren Green claimed #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on December 5, 1964, and held the top spot on the easy listening chart for 6 weeks. His fame from Bonanza as Ben Cartwright gave him a ready audience. Green leveraged his Bonanza persona, speaking the ballad in first person as a frontier lawman. This spoken-word narrative of a gunfighter's friendship and betrayal let him tap into his acting skills to pull listeners into the story. He even recorded promos to prevent Beatles confusion, ensuring fans knew this was a Western tale. The 1960s often saw stars crossing into new fields. This crossover of screen to song highlights TV's power in forging one-hit sensations. Now, let's explore another surprising voice that captured hearts with an unexpected style. Let's turn to a voice that brought a sacred simplicity to the pop charts with astonishing reach. Dominique by the Singing Nun, also known as Sarah Soria, soared to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 4 weeks in December 1963. It marked a historic moment as the second to last number 1 before the British invasion, and even outsold Elvis Presley during its run. This French-language folk tune carried a rare charm. Decker's simple homage to St. Dominic resonated so broadly, it edged out Elvis for weeks atop the charts. With lyrics painting him as a poor singing traveler who talks only of the good Lord, its sincerity touched listeners everywhere, regardless of faith or language. Its unique origin as a convent song won fans across the globe, topping charts in Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Its success in 11 countries underscores the decade's openness to unconventional pop. Finally, let's wrap up by reflecting on how these moments reshaped a generation soundtrack. These 15 one-hit wonders reveal the magic of unexpected hits, like a B-side turning into a chant classic, studio innovation with tricks like sped-up tapes crafting unique sounds, and cultural mirrors reflecting everything from protest to surf fever. Which of these one-hit wonders still echoes in your life today? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the songs that defined your youth.